There are lots of good New Age books out there, but there's one that stood out for me over the years. Right from the beginning, the book draws you in as the author starts having a conversation with God. Or so he claims. Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch is the first in a three-part series of books. In the preface, Walsch claims that he started writing a letter to God and that one day his hand just started moving and God started writing back to him through him. The big question, of course, is was this written by God? And is it God's voice that he was hearing? The book actually opens with Walsch posing the question, how do I know that this is not just my imagination? And God, or the person that is supposedly God, answers back by saying, what's the difference? Or what does it matter? And I really like this because it brings up the question of where God resides. Is God within? Is God an external being? And it kind of sets the tone for whether or not it will be a religious book, which sees God as an external being, the personal God that we're all kind of used to, or whether it will be a more spiritually inclined book, which claims that God is within. The questions that Walsch poses are incredibly honest. He asks what will happen if he publishes this book and whether he'll be metaphorically crucified. And the voice that is God says, yeah, you probably will be vilified and spat on and hated. Walsch also asks questions like, when will his life come together? And will he ever sort out his money problems? Will he sort out his love life? God gives answers to all of these, and the general gist of it is that things come together when you choose for them to come together. What that actually means, I'm going to let you decide for yourself and find out when you read the book. Walsch also asks metaphysical questions like, what is the nature of God? What is the nature of reality? Is there life after death? Is there such a thing as hell? All of these questions are answered, some directly, some indirectly. I really appreciated how honest the author was regarding difficult questions. He poses very provocative questions, and all of those questions are answered. Now, although God in the book claims to not be taking sides when it comes to any specific religion, it's pretty clear that there's a new agey trend. It seems as if Buddhism, maybe Taoism, maybe even Hinduism kind of take preference, and that Christianity, Islam, and Judaism get the back seat. At points, it does feel as if God is bashing modern Western society and Christian thought, and yet at the same time, he does quote from the Bible. The voice of God in the book has a very authentic feel to it. It seems as if the answers are very straightforward and very sensible, very rational, and for the most part, complete and satisfying. Some of the answers, however, tend to go in circles. As Walsch tries to understand the more difficult abstract concepts, God gives these equally difficult and abstract answers. You don't necessarily need knowledge of any specific religion, of the Bible, or of Eastern theology, but having some inclination of spiritual literature will be helpful. I prefer the first of the three books because it's very personal. It deals with personal issues like money, love, mental health, death, whereas the second and third books deal with more external issues. Equally important, but not as interesting. And there you have it, the greatest New Age book of all time. I've read this book a number of times and I will likely continue reading it for the rest of my life. Like I said, you have to decide what's true for you and which words resonate with you and which ones don't. But I will vouch for the quality of Walsch's insights. And I think that regardless of religious or spiritual orientation, anyone can benefit from this work. So, get reading, keep expanding, and I will see you in the next video.